Hey guys, my name is Swindas and welcome back to another video. Today, my plan is to go through the entire series of Community and rank every single episode. That's right, all 110. Before we get started, I just wanted to quickly say thank you to everyone for the support in the last video. I put a lot of work and time into that little video and I'm incredibly proud of it, so I'm honestly just glad people enjoyed it. Anyway, for this video, I'm going to go through every episode and say a little something about each one. I'll try to keep it short as I don't want to stretch this video out too long. Without further ado, let's begin, shall we? 110. Intro to Felt Surrogacy. The plot for this episode feels just like a bit aimless for me. It feels like it's trying to go somewhere, but it never really does, if that makes sense. 109. Intro to Recycled Cinema. It was super funny, like there were some really great jokes and I laughed out loud quite a lot, but the plot just never interested me, like the whole Chang thing, like putting him in the movie wasn't my favourite. Okay. 108. Alternative History of the German Invasion. Maybe it's just because the first episode with the Germans is so good, but this one just basically never lives up to its predecessor for me. Basic Interlugal Pneumostatics. Unlike the rest of the themed episode, this one just missed the mark for me. It felt like it was thrown in just for the sake of having it. 106. The Science of Illusion. The Pierce subplot? Absolutely fantastic, but the main plot just didn't interest me. The whole, like, murder mystery kind of thing, yeah, no, it just fell a bit short for me. 105. Messianic Myths and Ancient Peoples. This one has always been, like, super out of place to me. As much as I love the idea of everyone just buying into Abed's crazy movie idea, I feel like it was just a bit out of reality, if that makes sense, even for this show. 104. Asian Population Studies. The subplot with Shirley's child maybe being Chang's never super interested me, and this episode was a lot about that. 103. Critical Film Studies. This episode was great, I just found it a little bit too slow for me. 110. Applied Anthropology and Culinary Arts. This one's a bit weird, I don't really have an opinion on this one as much as I do with the others. It just kind of happened. I mean, it was funny, it just didn't leave a mark on me. 101. Advanced Documentary Filmmaking. And I love the documentary episodes, and I mean, Changnesia was a fun thing to do a documentary on. It wasn't as funny as some of the others, but I did still very much enjoy it. 100. Laws of Robotics and Party Rights. This one had some good gags, and I really liked the idea of the prisoners posing like an actual threat, even though they were just on like little iPad screens. 99. Grifting 101. It's a super convoluted episode, but I really loved the references and, I mean, as much as it is over the top, it works so well. 98. Contemporary Impressionists. I loved the plot with the impersonation job, but the whole Jeff confidence, like, subplot thing was just kind of a miss for me. It was really weird and it wasn't too funny for me. It made me cringe a lot more. And it wasn't like funny cringe, it was just cringe. 97. G.I. Jeff. The animation part of this episode, great. It was really cool to see the show done in that style of animation. The story just felt really lackluster to me though. 96. Custody Law and Eastern European Diplomacy. I feel like this is one of the better Chang parent episodes, and I really love the Britta dating a war criminal subplot. Absolutely great. Hilarious, it was just class. 95. Competitive Wine Tasting. I loved seeing Jeff and Pierce like fight in this episode, as it's constantly shown throughout the show that they both think they're like the leader of the group. 94. Digital Estate Planning. This episode just has some really lovely emotional moments for Pierce and his brother, and I mean, I love video games, so this one just couldn't really miss for me. It was a great episode. 93. VCR Maintenance and Educational Publishing. I wasn't a fan of the VCR game subplot, but I loved the textbook drug cartel story. 92. Economics of marine biology. I hated the rich kid in this episode so much, but I always love watching the dean try to make his school seem like better than it actually is. There's just a natural comedy to that, I love Jim Rash. 91. Lawnmower maintenance and postnatal care. I loved seeing the dean in this crappy VR games, thinking it's like the best thing ever. Class entertainment, great episode. 90. Basic genealogy. I really loved the Troy and Britta subplot, as well as the Abed and Shirley one. 89. English as a second language. The reveal that Chang only knows Spanish from Sesame Street came as no surprise to me, and at that I just couldn't stop laughing. 88. Advanced safety features. I really loved the character of Rick, or Subway as he was formerly known. Super glad he came back. Great character. 87. Basic sandwich. Basically just the study group versus Subway. A classic rivalry. 86. Beginner pottery. Seeing Jeff come to terms with mediocrity was absolutely great, and I just loved the boating class subplot. It's so funny. Just the way they take it so seriously. That kind of comedy is right up my alley. Yeah, great. Brilliant. 85. Analysis of cork-based networking. I loved the constant gag of the command chain that Annie had to go up just to get one notice board put up. 84. Ladders. It was a great start to the season, super funny. I really liked the way they introduced Frankie, and I just loved the Leonard backstory at the start of the episode with all of the frisbees. Very good. 83. Introduction to teaching. Seeing Jeff try to handle teaching was great, especially when he discovered the truth, quote-unquote, behind the teachers of Greendale. Absolutely funny. Great. Comedy king. I don't know what I'm saying here. 82. The art of discourse. The plan for Jeff to sleep with a teenager's mum never fails to make me laugh. 81. Communication studies. I loved the college movie style montage when Jeff and Abed got drunk. Such a great pairing, and it was really great to see the dynamic shift between Jeff and Britta and Britta and Jeff in this episode. 80. Repilot. A fantastic way to soft reboot the series, and I think that's what makes this episode shine out to me. 79. Romantic expressionism. Seeing Jeff and Britta team up to take down Vaughn was great fun, especially because he's so annoying. I'm sorry. I know, he's funny, he has some good moments. He's annoying. 78. Advanced introduction to finality. I loved seeing the evil universe come back and come to reality, even if it was done a little sloppy, I think. 77. Her story of dance. Seeing Abed finally find a girl who he actually likes was just really sweet and fun, and the fact that it was Brie Larson made me chuckle. 76. Investigative journalism. Jack Black and Owen Wilson in one episode? Class. Top. Great content. 75. Advanced criminal law. I absolutely loved seeing Abed and Troy's relationship begin to form. This is one of the first episodes that really tackles that, and Chang is just always top-notch, hilarious, absolutely great. 74. Course listing unavailable. Seeing the whole school get into this revolt mode is super fun, and it also just sets up an awesome 2-part finale, so brilliant. 73. Basic crisis room decorum. All I have written down here is, the dog was cute. 72. Introduction to finality. Finally getting to see the inside of the air conditioning repair school was really fun, and it paid off what they'd been building up to for that season. 71. Intermediate documentary filmmaking. This episode just really makes me hate Pierce, and that is all I have to say about this one. 70. History 101. The Hunger Deans, as he calls it, was super fun. Really funny, but the TV shows in Abed's head were just not my favourite. 69. Get it? Funny sex number. Anyway, origins of vampire mythology. Seeing Annie and Troy, like, working to stop Britta from seeing her, like, ex was so fun. And it was, like, a really deep dive into her character, which is always nice. 68. Basic story. I absolutely just loved the return of Subway in this episode. One of my favourite bits. 67. Basic RV repair and palmistry. I love road trip stories, and this was basically one of those. It was super fun. All of the characters just, as they always do, came together to work really well and create a super funny episode. 66. Documentary filmmaking Redux. Seeing this episode centered around the Dean was just so much fun. Jim Rash is incredible as always in this one. 65. Interpretive dance. Troy and Britta have an amazing subplot in this, and Danny Pudi tap dancing, you can't really miss that. Absolutely, like, lovely episode. 64. Comparative religion. The epic snowball fight scene is just so well done. It's so funny and it's great. 63. Home economics. Seeing Jeff without his usual, like, fake confidence and get-up was a really interesting dive into his character, which I couldn't get enough of. It was really funny. 62. Modern espionage. It's definitely not the best paintball episode, but it was a nice homage to the tradition before the end of the series. 61. Basic email security. I love these episodes where the characters are all, like, bickering about each other. It's always entertaining to watch, and it's always sweet when they eventually, like, learn to look past it. 60. Intro to political science. I loved seeing Jeff and Annie fight over their beliefs, as they're both extremely stubborn when they want to be. 59. Early 21st century romanticism. All I can really say about this episode is I just love Britta's subplot. 58. Basic rocket science. KFC rocket ship, because of course there's a KFC rocket ship. 57. App development and condiments. Seeing the popularity hierarchy was just so much fun, and I always love seeing Greendale completely transformed into something else. 56. Wedding videography. It is so much fun seeing the study group from, like, an outsider's perspective. Yes, you did hear that right. I highly enjoy the Community Season 6 incest episode. 55. Curriculum unavailable. Seeing the group try to argue for the case that they are just perfectly normal and sane is so much funny, and I just loved the therapist character. Really well done episode. 54. Basic lupine neurology. A truly amazing, well done Law and Order parody. 53. Digital exploration of interior design. A great setup for an absolutely fantastic episode. I loved, like, seeing Subway as, like, a human form. That was just really funny to me, and it set up that gag that would reappear later in different parts of the show. 52. Introduction to statistics. A fantastic first Halloween episode that introduced an absolutely amazing love interest for Jeff. 51. Social psychology. I definitely got a little sad when Anna yelled at Abed to go away. 50. Biology 101. Seeing Jeff go crazy is extremely funny, but it also, like, made me super sad the first time I watched it, and I'm not entirely sure why. 49. Urban matrimony and the sandwich arts. Normal Troy and Normal Abed made this episode just so great. It was really cool to see them like that, and it was really nice to see Shirley, like, finally reconcile her marriage. 48. Paranormal parentage. It was honestly really cool and funny, like, to see this, like, inside Pierce's house for the first time. It was really cool to get that glimpse inside his house. 47. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This Dungeons and Dragons episode is great, and I really love the character building that is done for Hickey. He's one of my favorite, like, characters, but that isn't on there for the whole show, you know what I mean? He's probably my favorite character who didn't, like, stay for the entire run. 46. Advanced gay. It's honestly great to see Pierce in this situation, and to see him, like, trying to, like, finally push past his father's ignorance. 45. Spanish 101. The Biblioteca rap is the greatest music in the history of music. 44. Conspiracy theories and interior design. The ending still confuses me. 43. Intro to Knots. I love the way the group, like, basically works together to keep someone hostage. 42. Cooperative escapism and familial relationships. Seeing Jeff finally meet his dad and work past his issues is absolutely great, and it's really emotional. 41. Competitive ecology. Poor Todd. 40. For a few paintballs more. As much as I loved this episode, I feel like it pales in comparison to, like, its first part. 39. The psychology of letting go. A glimpse into Pierce's beliefs as a laser lotus is always really interesting. 38. Geography of global conflict. The Model UN scenes are, like, perfect, with an amazing Britta/Chang subplot. 37. Conventions of space and time. It was really cool to see, like, a glimpse into the famous Inspector Spacetime, and I also mildly enjoyed Troy and Britta. I definitely think they get a bad rap. I don't think they're as bad as people make them out to be. 36. Emotional consequences of broadcast television. Great finale. Can I say anything else? I mean, it made me cry lots. Like, a lot. Probably too much. 35. Anthropology 101. Seeing Jeff become, like, super unpopular in the school and then having to try and, like, deal with that is just such a blast. 34. Physical education. It's one of the best community endings to an episode there is. It's great. 33. Community. The first episode, and it just sets up an amazing show. There's not much more I can say, but it really is great. 32. Foosball and nocturnal vigilanteism. Abed Batman is just my favorite. 31. Heroic origins. I loved seeing how they all came together for this episode. It's great. I love that kind of stuff where they went back in time and they're just looking at actually how they all got to know each other. So good. Loved it. 30. Basic human anatomy. This is one of the few times you really get to see, like, just how much Troy and Abed really do mean to each other. It's so sweet. 29. Horror fiction in 7 spooky steps. Abed being the only sane one is my favourite thing in this episode. It just tops it all off perfectly and makes so much sense to me. 28. Cooperative calligraphy. I love a good bottle episode. 27. Pascal's Triangle Revisited. Such a great finale to a series, and it's a really good boiling point to all of the, like, Jeff, Britta, Annie, like, subplots. 26. The politics of human sexuality. There's some really clever jokes in this one, and it's honestly one of my favourites comedically from season 1. 25. Queer studies and advanced waxing. The Gayadine song will always be stuck in my head. 24. Regional holiday music. Love me a Glee parody. Got it, it's great. Also, just the Christmas rap. So good. I love Donald Glover. I love Danny Pudi. So great. Yes. 23. Environmental science. This episode might have the best ending to any of the Community episodes. I love it. So funny, and the music is so good. Listening to them sing somewhere out there, to, like, the tune of, like, an Irish jig. Great. 22. Cooperative polygraphy. A great goodbye to just Pierce as a character. Great send-off. Yeah. Great episode. 21. Celebrity pharmacology. I could not stop laughing at children screaming, "Yay!" for drugs. So good, so cleverly told, really well done. 20. Abed's Uncontrollable Christmas. A truly moving story that just makes me so emotional every time I watch it. 19. Studies in Modern Movement. This episode just really sets up that dynamic between Annie, Troy, and Abed, and I just love that relationship. 18. Football, Feminism, and You. It's our first real look into Troy as a character, and it's an amazing look into Troy as a character. 17. The First Chang Dynasty. One of the best, over-the-top finales of TV ever. 16. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Fat Neil is such a great character in this episode. It's got a great story on top of just great sound design and camera work. 15. Bondage and beta male sexuality. A great dive into Duncan's personality. It's just super funny and charming, and John Oliver absolutely smashes it out of the park here. 14. Geothermal escapism. The goodbye episode for Troy that just absolutely leaves me devastated every time I watch it. 13. Mixology certification. This episode is just a pretty big shift in Troy's character. It's really emotional. It's also just a really fun time to watch Annie and Britta and Jeff get absolutely pissed. 12. Paradigms of Human Memory. An amazing clip show episode, and from what I hear they used clips that were from cut episodes of the season, which is incredibly smart and just totally creative. 11. A Fistful of Paintballs. A great follow-up to Modern Warfare that takes on the Western genre and does it so well. So incredibly well. Okay, it's time for the top 10. These are the big ones, lads. You ready? My top 10 episodes of Community are... Do we do a drum roll? We should do a drum roll. 10. Epidemiology. An amazing, funny, action-packed story set to ABBA music. What's not to love? At number 9, we have Remedial Chaos Theory. One of the best multiverse episodes out of any show I've ever seen. It really showcases where all of our characters are emotionally during this season. And when Jeff leaving is the only way the group can be happy, it really is a bittersweet moment to me, as Jeff is one of my favourite characters and I love him. But it makes sense, and it's really cool to see that shown in that episode. 8. Virtual Systems Analysis. This episode makes me absolutely bawl my eyes out. I love Abed as a character, and seeing the way he uses the Dreamatorium reminds me a lot of what I would do when I was in junior high, and the fact he thinks that nobody cares about him and how indifferent he is about this fact, it just makes me so sad and it breaks my heart every time. 7. Accounting for Lawyers. Such a funny episode, and it serves to highlight how much Jeff has changed and grown as a character. Plus, chloroform. 6. Contemporary American Poultry. It's a great crime flick about chicken. I love how it shows the group dynamic shifting as Abed begins to take control. 5. Modern Warfare. The first episode of the show when I realized, oh, this show is going to be a different kind of show, isn't it? It's a classic and it's highly entertaining. 4. Debate 109. I love the bit about Abed predicting the future, and the debate segments are just so entertaining, especially the ending. Okay, now we're down to our top 3. We're gonna do another drum roll in between each one. You better join me. At number 3, we have... Aerodynamics of Gender. This episode is just pure entertainment. So fun, I laugh so hard every time. And the reveal at the end is certainly something. Okay, at number 2 we have... Introduction to Film. Introduction to Film is my second favourite because I just love Abed as a character, and this episode is like the first one to really show us who he is beyond just a surface level. Something that for the whole episode is used for laughs gets turned into something truly emotionally devastating in the last 5 minutes. I bawl my eyes out every time I watch this episode just because of how much Abed's film speaks to me. So, This leaves my number one favorite Community episode. My favorite episode of Community is Pillows and Blankets. This episode summarizes Community to me. It has everything. It has emotion, over-the-top parody and action, character-driven plot. The fact that the writers managed to make an episode that isn't even told normally, it's told through the eyes of a narrator, it shows how incredible this show is. Pillows and Blankets showcases each and every character in the group, and what their dynamic is when it comes to the group. I might do like a full video on this episode at some point, but God, I just do truly love this episode. Okay, well, that is my ranking of every episode of Community. I do hope you did enjoy. This was super fun to plan out and record and all that. Yeah, honestly, it was a blast. I really enjoyed doing it. I have some other ideas for my next videos coming up. I have a few plans, so definitely keep tuned for that. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or just subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want to stay updated. Yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please feel free to leave a like, please feel free to subscribe, and feel free to share it around if you liked it and think it's good. Yes, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!